Hello world. It's been a while since I have come on the internet specifically to talk about this book, Beauty in Barren Places, Seeing God's Goodness Here and Now. It's a book I wrote sometime in the last decade, sometime after completing my first book, which was almost 10 years ago. I wrote this book, and I honestly don't know exactly when I started writing it, but I do know I completed it 4 years ago this month, and I do know that this is a book intended for January. So I'm here today to ask you to consider joining me in January for a online book club. Whether we meet in a Facebook group or Zoom is yet to be determined, but my intention for this book has been to speak to people who are feeling barrenness, and that is not necessarily applying to infertility, although that is a form of barrenness. I'll read the back. The blurb I wrote 4 years ago. Many of us find ourselves in a barren place when life bogs us down. Disappointment, unfulfilled expectations, answered prayers, broken relationships, singleness, infertility, grief, financial hardships, and those are just some of the barren places where we might struggle to see God's goodness. In this book, drawing from biblical insight as well as her own life experiences, I share how I have seen God's goodness in difficult situations, in big ways and small. I believe, I'm modifying the tense here, I believe the words in Psalm 27:13, I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Right here and right now, we can choose to look for God's goodness. The title Beauty in Barren Places struck me over the years as I would look at the trees in the winter. It's fall right now, and I'm in a patch of outdoors that has lots of wintergreen, evergreen trees. But in the winter, when the trees are so bare, I feel blue. I feel glum in January in particular, after holidays and the end of the year and the new year, and I just kind of feel down. And so this is a book I began writing in January. I intended to launch it for people to read in January, and I did that. 4 years ago, I published this book the week of Thanksgiving. It was the year of the COVID pandemic year. And I felt like people needed some encouragement, and I rushed to complete this book by Thanksgiving time. And then I was shocked 2 weeks later when we experienced the stillbirth of a baby at 34 weeks. And I was so encouraged by so many things in this book, because I felt like God had set me up to understand just to some degree, not the depth, because I don't think I understand the depth of God's goodness, but to have a grasp of a good God who has a good purpose and a good plan, no matter what the hardship is. And this, I had learned to see God's goodness in empty, barren, lonely places. The subtitle is Seeing God's Goodness Here and Now. And I don't know if I'll flip this video around. It may all be backwards in the selfie mode, but seeing God's goodness here and now. Because, for example, Psalm 23 references that surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. And I believe with all of my heart that God's goodness is evident on all of the days of our life, even on the worst days. And you may have had some bad days, and you may have experienced your worst days. And we all have hardships, we all have suffering, we all have disappointment, and we all have barrenness. And that is why this is a message for everyone. This book club will be specifically for women. Just as a woman, I kind of wrote it for women, but it can be read by and speak to anyone and everyone. And I've gotten some really encouraging feedback from people who, yes, infertility is a form of barrenness. So I've gotten encouragement and good feedback from people who have been through infertility or who are experiencing infertility. I've also heard some really good feedback from older women, my parents' age, who have really been encouraged by this book. So I invite all women to join me in January for an online book club. And if you're interested, I'd like you to contact me either through a social media message. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram, Betsy Herman, or my email address is betsyhermanauthor, BetsyHermanauthor, all one word, at gmail.com. And let me know that you're interested in joining the book club so I can get you on that list for January. And especially if you have a tendency to feel kind of blue in the winter, or you're in a hard, barren place in your own life, I really want you to read along. We're going to read the book, so also put it on your Christmas list. Order yourself a copy when you're doing your Christmas shopping or your Black Friday shopping or whatever you do. Amazon is the best place, the best way for me to sell it at this time. So find a copy on Amazon, Beauty in Barren Places by Betsy Herman. Contact me, let me know you want to be in the book club in January 2025, and hopefully subsequent Januaries we'll do this again. And I want to read through it together, talk through this book, talk through the insights, hear what you're going through, and I have hopes that this will speak to and encourage other people as it has helped me.